a hard story. It's not a pretty story. Not cool. It's kind of ugly. It's not too deep, but remember last week. Let's take a moment. Let's do a little bit of review. Okay, let's remember our cycle. It starts with sin. When Israel sins, when do they typically sin? What kind of sin are they involved with? Yeah, it's mostly idol worship. What do you mean by idol? Yeah, like really? Just bowing down to statues and things like that? Yeah. They forgot, they were just forgot about God. They were turning their face away from God. They were obeying God. Yeah, too much pride. What is the point of the idol worship? Like the man-made statue. I have a hard time with that. There's no life in that. They're worshiping just an inanimate object. I agree. I wonder the same thing. I think about that. I was 18 or 19 years old in college. I was at the time where I was surrounded by a lot of Christians, and I was not satisfied. I had relied on my mother's and father's faith up until then. I was saved. I would rely on what they told me, and I would accept what they told me. Now, as I entered the real world, I started to realize, what I had been taught and what other people were saying was completely different. They're still Christians and they're professing Jesus, but I was confused. For me, I mean, really, a lot of confusion in my mind was discombobulating. And so I decided just to reject everything that I knew, or thought I knew, or what I was being told, and consider what is true. I hadn't decided. I just was curious what was true. I looked at other religions even. I considered them, but I wasn't satisfied. For me, it did not satisfy me. It just seemed kind of made up, like a fairy tale, like it was fiction. Buddhism, or especially Hinduism, Mormonism, Jehovah's Witness. Looking at all of them, I realized none of them just wasn't it. It wasn't the truth. So it's taking a step back, looking at everything. I believed in God, and what I understood about God at the time. So I believed in God. And now I would ask myself, why do I believe in God? Not what do I believe, but why do I believe? Why do I believe in God? So I thought to myself, and I wondered, why do I believe in God? And so I asked myself, I thought to myself, where do I come from? My mom and my parents loved each other very much, haha, you know what I mean? But then what next? I knew what preceded me, but humanity does humanity come from? Was, from evolution, I just couldn't accept evolution. I never bought it. It never made sense to me. There wasn't enough evidence for me. There was just never enough evidence for me. So I rejected that. So I came to the conclusion that something definitely made us. And if something created us, that something should have a reason for making us. And what the purpose for, what was that reason? I was curious. Why were we made? Could it just be like a science experiment, like for fun? Just watch and kind of enjoy their, like if you've ever had an ant farm, you see it's like you see the dirt, you see how the ants you see their little community there. Is that how God saw us? Did He just create us just to kind of just stare at us and observe us as an experiment, or did God want a relationship with us? And for me, from my logic, God wants a relationship with us. So if God wanted a relationship from us, what religion is that? Looking at the world, looking all over, I came back to the Bible. I landed right back to the Bible. And ever since, my foundation for everything has been the Bible. If we want to talk about music, we'll look to music in the Bible. We were discussing Calvinism. I would compare it to the Bible. If we would discuss or debate who Jesus was, I would look to the Bible. For me, that's where I would always begin. Now, taking a step out of that, the people of Israel, you have to remember, they lived in Egypt for, how long did they live in Egypt? They lived in Egypt for 400 years. Were there idols there? Yeah, absolutely, they had idols there. Did they worship those idols? I'm not sure. I wasn't there. But everywhere Israel goes, they meet new people, and they figure out, find out what they worship, and maybe they are curious, they're interested to try it. What experience are you having with this idol worship? And maybe they're being told, oh yeah, all these things have happened in my life from worshiping these idols, and hey, I'm interested, I'm going to take this idol now. Maybe they tried it, and something happened. I don't know. I'm not sure how it happened, but over and over again, you see this with the people of Israel. I can't answer why they do it, but they are stubborn with this sin. Like that. I think it was just, they just didn't care. They forgot. Maybe they weren't trained or educated. All right, so, like they may think in their minds and know God in their minds, but they forget about Him in their hearts. Yeah, I understand. Yeah, maybe. Yeah, it was about 400 years of this cycle of Judges. Just like Jesus says, I am the truth, the life, and the way. I mean, there's only one way to God. all these other methods, praying to Buddha or other deities, won't get you there. The Buddhist pastors and their beliefs, all they believe is in themselves and good behavior. But so Israel has this idol worship. Also, I just want to make a point. Maybe the idol is something they can see. Well, God, you don't really see. I don't know. It's pretty. I see God in the trees, in the sun, in the animals, in the fish. I see God everywhere. That's what the Native Americans would say. They worship trees, they worship sun. Because that's God in everything. So that's kind of dangerous too. Yeah, I see God's handiwork. Yeah, I agree with that. And the Bible does say that in Psalm 119. I remember CJ asked me when I was young, how do you know there's God? And I said, just take a look around. Like, I remember he said, the rain falling and growing on trees. So sin, suffering, supplication, and the salvation cycle. Looking at this, let's do a review. Where does salvation come from? We're talking about salvation, not from your sin. I'm talking about the rescue. This act of rescuing. Israel's in sin, suffering, and then how do they get salvation? No, that comes later, okay? Where does the rescue come from? It comes from God. God sends a man or a woman who is a judge or an avenger to take back, to secure Israel. This is an important emphasis because today we will see a man who becomes a ruler in which God did not send him to be a ruler. So last week, Noreen, so God in heaven, does he move? So, okay, let me explain this. During Moses' time, she had a question. Is God in the clouds and moving in the clouds? So during Moses' time, God was in a cloud during the day and in a cloud of fire at night and led them into the promised land. They failed, and I don't see that cloud of fire anymore. After that, after they failed, after the 40 years wandering in the wilderness, there was no guide as they were wandering. They were waiting for that generation to die. So after that, they entered the promised land. God was not in a cloud of fire. So there was this cloud of fire, and they wandered for 40 years in Israel, in the wilderness. Was the promised land in that area while they were wandering, or let me see if I can explain. I'm not sure if I understand the question, but let me explain. So let's just say this is the promised land. It's bigger than that, but anyway, we'll just call this area the Promised Land for this depiction. Now remember, Moses and Israel came out of Egypt. They crossed the Red Sea. Moses receives the Ten Commandments, sets up the tabernacles, divides the tribes, and then enters the Promised Land. And Moses sends the 12 spies. Well, the 12 spies enter, go through the Promised Land, and come back and state, no, we're not to go. There's giants. It's dangerous. 10 of them said no, but 2 of them said, let's go. Who were the 2 spies? Caleb and Joshua. Correct. Those are the 2 that said, let's go. The other 10 said no. They refused to go. So they voted on it and it failed. So they did not go into the Promised Land at that time. And so God punished them. How did God punish them? That you all will perish. You all will die. All that you were 20 ages 20 and up. And it took 40 years for that to happen. Except who survived? Just the 2. And possibly their families as well. It seems that was the case. Joshua had a wife and a son. Anyway. So the 2 survivors and their family, they entered the Promised Land again. But that took 40 years. Did that answer your question? So the Promised Land is right there. It's all around here in this area. So they had not entered that area. I've got another slide to pull up. Pull up this slideshow about Gideon. No, try it. No, go back up. Just try that. Yep, that's the one no, not quite. Pull up my Genesis slide. Show. Ignore the names of it. So, where's Israel? Right here. This area here between Heth, just past Canaan, they probably were wandering outside of this area, maybe in this area here to the south. So that's where they wandered for 40 years, and then they finally entered the promise.
Two.
Well, so under Solomon's reign, it was the largest Israel had ever grown to. They probably did fulfill the boundaries of the promised land at that time. Oh, there's another name. Try to remind me on Sunday. I'll see if I can find it. Great. I haven't even started my story. Okay. So every time there's a judge that God sends, I want to remind you about last week first. So we got our 5th judge. His name was Gideon. How many children did he have? 70. And the people of Israel, after they win, what do the people tell them? They want him to become king. Please become king. And Gideon's response was, no. And, wait a minute, before the goal. I'm not to be king, and my sons will not be king. It's very important. Yeah, Gideon declined the offer to become king, and he also said, my sons will not be king. How many sons did he have? 7. Correct. So none of them will be king, is what Gideon decided. He didn't feel right with it. You know? We have God. Look to God. Not me. Look to God. And so that was Gideon's response. Look to God. Enter Abimelech. We get the first, quote, so-called king of Israel. So we're going to talk about this today. Now, who is Abimelech? Well, who is Jerubbaal? It's Gideon. So this is Gideon's son. This is one of Gideon's sons. And Abimelech, the son of Jerubbaal, went to Shechem unto his mother's brethren, and communed with them, and with all the family of the house of his mother's father, saying, Speak, I pray you, in the ears of all the men of Shechem, whether is better for you, either that all the sons of Jerubbaal, which are 70 persons, 70 is how many? 70, exactly. Reign over you, or that one reign over you. So Abimelech is saying, what's going to be better for you? To have 70 men ruling over you, or just one as a ruler? Remember, I am your bone and your flesh. So what do we think Abimelech's goal here is with this conversation? Yeah, he wants to become ruler. That's correct. It's dry tonight. So what does he mean by saying I'm bone and flesh? Yeah, he means we're kin, we're family. He's asking them, what do you think? And his brother's brethren spake of him in the ears of all the men of Shechem and all these words. And their hearts inclined to follow Abimelech, for they said, He is our brother. And they gave him 60 pieces of silver out of the house of Baal-berith, wherewith Abimelech hired vain and light persons. Which followed. So what does this mean?
White people.
White people. No, that's not the case. Not white people. What is the vain and light? What's that phrase mean? Is it like weak people? So first we'll talk about vain. He said the word ruthless. And for the word vain, I mean, yeah, they don't care. They're kind of wild. So vain and light. Is it light? Is it like skinny light? Like weight? What are we talking about? Is it light skin? White? It's not weak. It doesn't mean weak in this context. No. So what I think it means is it's either easy. They're made easy to follow. They're gullible. They're young. They're dumb, and they don't care. I believe that's what it means. And maybe quick, maybe fast. That's a good thought. So he hires these men, and they follow him. What do you think he wants to do? Remember, he's got 70 pieces of silver. So he's got 70. What's he trying to do? Maybe go to war against who? What is this house of Baal-berith? It's a false god. It's like the Church of Mormon. No, it's Baal. It's Baal. It's the house of Baal. It's where they worship Baal. So they took money from there to support this guy. So was this guy from God? No. And he went unto his father's house at Ophrah, and slew his brethren, the sons of Jeroboam, being 70 persons. So all 70 people he kills. He kills his own brother, his own family. Kills them all upon one stone. So he uses these hired workers, and one stone he uses to kill them all. To his 70 brothers. His own flesh and blood, like you said. So this is Abimelech, but he's one of the 70? So you're right, so 71. Good math. Good math. So there were 71. Now there's only one left. except, notwithstanding yet, Jotham, the youngest son of Jeroboam, was left, for he hid himself. So he killed 69, and then there was one left in hiding. And all the men of Shechem gathered together, and all the house of Milo, and went and made Abimelech king by the plain of the pillar that was in Shechem. Plain like a grassy, like a field. So this guy killed 69 of his brothers. Jotham's ran off and is hidden. And all the men of Shechem have gathered together and made him king. Whoa. And he wasn't finished. You have a question? So the 70, what happened with the 70 coin? I think he got 70 men with those. He hired those 70 men. And he paid them one coin apiece to help him kill his brother. Yeah, he betrayed them. So how much was that one coin worth? Oh, it doesn't matter. So where's Gideon now? He's passed away. Yeah, he's passed away. That was in the chapter before that. He passed away. And when they told it to Jotham that Abimelech was king now, Jotham went and stood in the top of Mount Gerizim and lifted his voice and cried and said unto them, Hearken unto me, ye men of Shechem, that God may hearken unto you. The trees went forth on a time to anoint a king over them. And they said unto the olive tree, Reign thou over us. But the olive tree said unto them, Should I leave my fatness, wherewith by me they honor God and man, and go to be promoted over the trees? So what are we talking about with this olive tree here? What's the point? It's a parable, kind of. It's not a parable of Jesus, but this guy Jotham, he is a prophet. He's prophesying against them. He's saying, you guys have asked for an olive tree to be king and reign over them. And the olive tree says, no, I'm good. I'm going to stay there. I'm not going to become king. And the tree said to the fig tree, Come thou and reign over us. But the fig tree said unto them, Should I forsake my sweetness and my good fruit and go to be promoted over the trees? Then said the trees unto the vine, Come thou and reign over us. And the vine said unto them, Should I leave my wine, which cheereth God and man, and go to be promoted over the trees? So the olive tree says they're good. The fig tree said no. The the vines and their grapes say no. They decline this offer. Then said all the trees unto the bramble, the thorns, the thorn bush, the bramble, come thou and reign over us. And the bramble said unto the trees, if in truth ye anoint me king over you, then come and put your trust in my shadow. If not, let fire come out of the bramble and devour the cedars of Lebanon. Now therefore, if ye have done truly and sincerely, and that ye have made Abimelech king, and if ye have dealt well with Jerubbabel and his house, and have done according to the deserving of his hands. Pause there. So, Jotham is saying, did you guys do this? You guys made Abimelech king? Is that a good thing you guys have done? Do you remember Jerubbabel? He saved you. He rescued you. And now you've killed 70 of his sons. Is that the right thing to do? If you guys think this is good, then for my father fought for you and adventured his life far and delivered you out of the hand of men. And ye are risen up against my father's house this day and have slain his sons, 70 persons upon one stone, and have made Abimelech, the son of his maidservant, king over the men of Shechem, because he is your brother. If ye then have dealt truly and sincerely with Jerubbabel and with his house this day, then rejoice ye in Abimelech, and let him also rejoice in you. So have they done a good job? Is this great? No. Jotham's calling them out. What, you think you're doing a good job? Is this a good king you guys have placed in reign, who's killed your own brothers? That's your king? Good job. Where's the clap? Come on, let's rejoice. No, of course not. Of course not. But if not, if you haven't done anything good, then let fire come out from Abimelech and devour the men of Shechem and the house of Millo. And let fire come out from the men of Shechem and from the house of Millo and devour Abimelech. We're going to stop right here. What's his prophecy? What's he saying is going to happen? Who's going to be devoured? Who's going to do the devouring? Where's the fire come from? It doesn't say it's coming from God. So right now we have Abimelech, who is king over Shechem, come from where? It's going to come from him, from Abimelech. Against who? Against Shechem. And then the house of Millo. And then the fire, coming out of the house, the men of Shechem, and from the house of Millo, and devour Abimelech. So Jotham is saying, if you guys did a good job, then rejoice. If not, then you guys will turn on each other. And you'll destroy each other, you'll devour each other. And Jotham ran away and fled. And so what happened next? Come next week. So does Jotham take Abimelech with him? No. Jotham has fled from Abimelech. And Abimelech is made king over Shechem. He's going to reign for 3 years. And so what happens next? We'll see next week. So that's I mean, he wasn't king over all of Israel. It seems just he was king over that area. Maybe that tribe, perhaps. It doesn't mention the tribe in this chapter. It just mentions this city of Shechem and the house of Millo. Doesn't say what tribe they came from yet. We'll see that later. That information will come.
Welcome.
You had a question? Go ahead and ask that question. What's this town beer? Yeah, that's where beer comes from. Where Jotham fled to. So that word means well. Probably Beersheba. We can gather that. Can't say for sure, but. Beersheba would have been right around there. Okay, do we have any questions? So the 70 brothers, 69 of them were dead, and then there was the one brother, Jotham, left, and he fled. And left this prophecy. So now Abimelech is the king, he's the ruler. Are they going to come to a dispute? Are they going to encounter each other? We'll see you next week. I know I'm mean. So Gideon didn't want to be king. He said he didn't want any of his children to be kings. But Abimelech, one of his sons, does become. Yeah, he's saying, look to God, but one of his sons decides that he wants the power. That desire for power, it kills. So Abimelech, was he perhaps the oldest? No, he wasn't quite the oldest. I mean, there's 70 of them. Who knows who's the oldest? But Abimelech was one of his servants' children. We'll discuss that more next week. Yeah, or concubine. Gideon had a lot. There was no king ruling in that area at the time. They weren't following any laws. Every man did what was right in his own eyes. Okay, so be careful. I'm going to close with a little bit of application. Just because we have a person who's a leader and he's taken over as a leader, we still have to be careful and watch that person to see what kind of behavior, is his behavior good? Is he a good leader to follow? Is this man from God? Or maybe he's just power hungry. It's a warning for us. Maybe today more than ever, especially with politics and what's going on in the world. We wonder why it's here, why they're there in that position. What do they want? Are they power hungry, or do they want to do what's right? So, I don't know. That's my warning and application for the evening. I'm not naming anyone. He said Trump. I'm not saying that. This is just a general statement for many politicians. They want power. That's maybe why they get into politics. So just watch out. Be careful. I'm going to close with a prayer. Father in heaven, thank you for your word, for blessing us during our time as we go to the deaf school at Kansas KSD. Bless our time there, fellowship there. I also bless this week as we prepare for Sunday. Lord, I pray for that the family of God will come together. I thank you so much for this church, and the people who are faithful to you, faithful on Sundays and Wednesdays. I enjoy this time together. Thank you so much. Bless us in Jesus' name.